Have you ever heard Hedonism II mentioned and wondered what type of a resort it is? Yes, there are persons who have reached out to me in my capacity as a travel advisor to ask me if what they say happens at Hedonism II in Jamaica really happens. And I think those who ask really expect that I would dull the narrative and I would tell them that, oh, it is over suggested, oh, it's not as might have been described. But today I'm going to tell you what hedonism has been to me. And you might be saying, hedonism was something to you or is something to you? What does that mean? Does that mean that you specialize in offering travel to that type of a resort? Are you someone who is not put off by the whole idea of nudity? Let's have this discussion. Yeah. So, as a young adult returning from life in Barcelona, Spain, where of course nudity was seen as commonplace, particularly on the beach in the summertime. It was very, very normal for persons to remove all that encumbered them to, for want of a better term, not have tan lines as they sunbathe, or just to let it all flow. That's very normal in Europe. And so, having returned to Jamaica and in the employment seeking stage, I was invited and interviewed for a role at Hedonism II. This was early 90s. And it was a season when I was doing a lot of interviews. I was already working in the hotel sector in Kingston at Oceana Hotel. And so I thought I knew all about hotels and, walk in the park. Hotel work for me was one where you dressed nicely and have your heels on and go to work. So when I left Kingston to do an interview in Negril at Hedonism II, I had no idea what I was getting into. But very soon, I was about to find out. So here goes. I hope you're ready for this story time. So I got the job. I was interviewed. I got the job as an entertainment coordinator. But what was interesting was that the main reason why I was selected and also why I was placed in entertainment was because I spoke fluent Spanish. Now, what that would have meant in my mind was that I'd just be talking to people in Spanish all day long. But as it turned out, it was very, very different. And you have to see things as they are. First of all, being at Hedonism II, where the slogan was, and probably still is, be wicked for a week. You could never be insulated from the hedonistic practices of hedonism II. And so, having been hired, the first thing, and this was very exciting to me, my uniform suddenly got a downgrade, which in my mind was a big upgrade. And I'll explain. Being an entertainment coordinator, you were running about the place, you were making guests happy, you were participating in activities. It was a very active job. So I traded my high heels and tailored suits for a polo shirt. It was green, I remember clearly, with the name of the property written across the chest, and white shorts and sneakers and socks. Loved it. Loved my uniform. Loved the fact that I was going to be casual, and loved the fact that I would be living on property. So yes, I lived on property. The cottages were just beyond the tennis courts, and this was wonderful. But as I got into orientation and discovered that the nudity was not an afterthought, it was not a could happen, might happen, it was happening. And so to my very young adult mind, I think I was probably 22 could have been maybe, it was shocking. But shocking in the sense that people were not only in the nude, but people had a lot of body piercings. I'd never known about body piercings before. So it was interesting to see a gentleman, for example, whipping out his genitalia to proudly show me the piercing locations and how it impacted all aspects of his life. Yeah. So as we moved along with duty assignments, I was told that activities on the nude beach, and that's because hedonism has two beaches. There's the nude beach and the prude beach. And they needed somebody to coordinate activities on the nude beach. And that person would be responsible for allowing all the persons who are nudists and who are in the nude, meaning they've removed all clothing. It would be my job, because that was my assignment, to go on the nude beach and to get them involved in the structured activities. It could have been I can't even remember any of the activities, but let's say beer drinking contest or something like that. And so I was assigned to the nude beach, and several days per week I would get down there. And as you move from the center beach, where we have the trapeze, the bar and a snack grill, I believe, you go to the right facing the ocean, and there's a sign that says no clothing allowed beyond this point. So of course, for the guests, they anticipated that for us, the entertainment team, we would also be in the nude. That caused quite a bit of conversation, and they would jive me, particularly because I would come over nicely dolled up in my uniform, and they'll be giving me 1,001 reasons as to why I need to take it all off. But of course, I had learned early in life how to roll with the punches, and no, I did not take it off. Nothing at all. And so good-naturedly, I would, talk them away from the whole situation. But there were on occasion a few people, particularly male, if you consider my Coca-Cola bottle shape at the time, who really wanted me to just let it all hang out. And so very, very easily I was able to remind them that there is a code of conduct for staff. And so we were exempt by rule, by law, to be in the nude. But that did not take away all the fun I had on the nude beach. Can I just tell you? And I'm going to start by saying this nude community that I served for almost a year turned out to be one of the high points of my life, because it made me aware of how interestingly different people are. The nudists typically were business people, business owners. They were people who were encumbered with all the challenges of life. They had high pressure jobs. They were high net worth people typically. And they just wanted something to de-stress. They wanted to lift all the things for a week that they had, that made them responsible, that made them leaders, that made them whatever. And I guess at that point we didn't have cell phones. We did have cameras. And so along with the signage that said no clothes beyond this point, there was also an accompanying sign that said no photography beyond this point. Because in all honesty too, apart from the fact that you did not want to capture and expose those persons who came to just unwind, you wanted to ensure that their privacy was not violated. So no photography. So there is really no way to confirm or deny what might have happened on the nude beach at Hedo 2. But I can tell you for a fact, having been there in the 90s, there was a clear instruction that no horseplaying, no unsavory activity should, be displayed in the public domain. Now, there were nooks and crannies, and there was a new jacuzzi where things could get very, very interesting. But it was in a sheltered, secured, private area. So we're talking about the nude beach and my experience working the nude beach. I encountered lawyers and doctors and professionals in all schemes and plans of life. And I ended up on that nude beach learning more about economics, management, finance. Because you know what? When I would go to the beach and try to introduce my guests to a game of volleyball, I remember that in particular, and the ladies and the men always said the same thing. Yeah, that would be nice, but we rather not have all of our assets flipping and flopping as we go after the ball. And so, having not gotten the response that my job indicated I needed to get people up and active, I was invited, as opposed to going back and saying, okay, nobody turned up, that's fine, we can't force them. I was invited to sit and stay with them and chat a bit. And my education flowed. I learned about money. I learned about cost control. I learned about management, because these were all leaders. These were all strong business operators and owners in their own realm. And they were comfortable enough to sit with this young girl in the nude, which of course they also introduced me to one of the reasons why they became nudists, which was a concept that most people wouldn't really understand if it wasn't explained, that it made them feel free. Bottom line, there was absolutely nothing else to it. It made them feel free, and they were able to bond with like-minded people. And I would never say that they did not have their own peculiarities, only that I was never involved in it and I never exposed myself to it. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to tell you this one important thing. They shielded me from a lot of the perversion, because they said, you're such a brilliant girl. You have such a wonderful future. We would never want it. Oops. And there went the phone. Forgive me. Yeah, as you see, I am sitting here in the car and the phone went. I apologize in advance because I'm not going to edit this, but yeah, so you see what's going on. So they would shield me, and as a result of all of that, I never had the experience, as a lot of persons would have imagined, of being in a compromising even position of viewing nudity. But I know it was there. I tell you this, there was a pool that had a glass, and all of what happened in the pool was seen through that glass in the disco. It was a very interesting situation. And we had guests who, of course, they wanted to show off their prowess, and so they would go right where the glass is, knowing that people were in the disco, and they would get it on. It was their right, it was their place, this is what they paid for. And so, that is hedonism for you. The toga parties, persons talk about it all the time. Toga night was Tuesday night, pajama party was Thursday night. As bare as you dare, as wild as you care, all of that was, as they have spoken, a signature. So yes, I have had that experience being an entertainment coordinator, living and working on property in the 90s at Hedonism. But my memories that I take away is not of nudity and profanity. It was of an education. One I think that really set me in a different space, because I walked away from that being more open-minded, more hospitable, more in tune to the fact that people are different. People have different ways of celebrating self, celebrating life. I learned not to be judgmental. I learned to ask questions. And asking questions for me became such an important time, because even though in my life growing up, it was not normal for you to ask questions about certain things, because we have a very close type of society, had at least. And certain questions were just not permitted. Being a part of serving the nude community, and even the otherwise sexual communities, gave me the latitude to speak freely. And so I was able to ask those pointed questions. And I was able to get their true to honest responses from their points of view. And so as I have evolved, I have maintained this non-judgmental attitude, because in my mind, choices are made by persons who are, excuse me, in a position to make those choices. They have chosen to do what they do with their bodies, with their sexualities. And so it's not my opinion that matters, it's their choice that makes them happy. So yeah, excuse me, I worked on a nude beach, I worked at a nude property, and I will never be the same. So of course you never know what you're gonna get when you come over here, because Sherry has so much to say. And as we journey along this journey, the one thing I want to leave with you is that personal choice and personal space is always going to be your personal right. And my take and my desire and my personal belief has no true implication on the lives of other people. Whatever you do, just ensure that you respect the wishes of those around you. And it really becomes a violation when you choose to force it on another person. So until we talk again, as you know, Sherry has lots to say, and I will catch you again in the next video. Ciao for now.